This is Tar Heel Talk, an in-depth look at the issues and people making news in North Carolina. Here's your host, Sonia Williams.
Making a new career move or earning that promotion takes work and strategic planning. And here to help us with that is Maxine Phillips, president of GAMS Unlimited coaching and consulting firm. Maxine is a life and career coach, author, and motivational speaker. Maxine, welcome back to Tar Heel Talk.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Always at the beginning of a new year, whether it's right at January 1 or shortly into a new year, people start to reevaluate where they are in life, whether it's professionally or personally. And so that's where you come in to help people decide, okay, where do I want to go? What is my next move? Talk a little bit about how people can begin that process in 2017.
You know, Sonia, the majority of the time people usually end up making a New Year's resolution. I encourage people to make a lifestyle change. The lifestyle change will last forever. A resolution, majority of the time, statistics has shown us that maybe only, 47% to maybe 41% might keep those New Year resolutions. The first 2 or 3 weeks in January, after that, the numbers are very low. So where I come in as a career coach is, how do you look at what is it you want to, where do you want to position yourself in life? When you make a decision that what you want to do out of life, you back into it. As they say, with the end in mind, you start at the beginning. And with 2017, this is the beginning of a new year, but it's also the beginning of a new you. So don't look at it as the beginning of a new year. Look at it as a way to make a lifestyle change right now that will last forever. So as a career coach, I look at what is it you want to do? Where do you want to go? How are you even looking at 2017? Are you looking at it as optimistic? Are you fearful? Are you trying to decide, what is it? Oh, I'm not even sure what I want to do right now. So what you have to do is take a step back. Look at creating goals smart. Also look at creating contextual goals. Because if you look at a contextual goal, it has an action plan. It has a specific way that you're going to say that you're going to go about creating that goal. You can measure that goal. But not only that, you can ask yourself a few other questions. Questions such as, what do I know about myself? What's my purpose? How passionate am I about what it is that I'm doing right now? And if I could change things, what would I change? And why would I even want to change them? So these are questions that we can ask ourselves no matter what time of year it is, whether it's beginning of the year, the middle of the year, the end of the year, or if you just take a step back and reflect on what you've done and how have you gotten there? Who has helped you? So those are some of the things that a career coach can help you accomplish.
Those are some major questions to ponder and then to try to sort through. So where can a person start? Let's talk about maybe someone who may be unemployed or underemployed, because I know that is, that is very important to address, your employment, because that kind of sets the path and the tone for the rest of your life and other parts of your life.
Right.
So where do you start with someone in that position of being either unemployed or underemployed?
Well, first of all, I ask them, what are you naturally gifted at doing? And many times individuals do not know. So with that, I started with what we call the ability assessment. That assessment helps me to understand them from the core, such as what's your personality type? I know a lot of people know the Myers-Briggs, but we dive a little bit deeper. Like, are you a generalist or specialist? A specialist is someone who wants to learn about, to become the subject matter expert. So you're going to dive deep into that subject. But if you're a generalist, you like a variety of things. So it's important that you're in the right environment, even with your skills. All right? Are you a long-term thinker, short-term thinker? If you're a long-term thinker and you're in a position that requires you to do short-term goals only, then it's not that you can't do them, it's just that you'll be somewhat challenged to do them. Are you an introvert, extrovert? Introvert is not someone who wants to be by themselves in a corner. What they do is they get their energy by having some downtime. Extrovert is someone who gets energy by being around people, talking, engaging.
Okay.
They make decisions really outwardly by talking them through. The other thing that we help them to do is how specific are you with the way that you take in new information and process it. This assessment helps not only adults, but it helps children as well, the young adults who are not sure what direction they need to take in life.
Right.
And so it helps them to hone in on what they're truly gifted at, what their strengths are. The other thing about this assessment is that it helps them to have confidence in who they are, to be able to be articulate about them, to say, I take in new information this way, or I see myself being an engineer. And the reason why I know that I'm an engineer is because I love to manipulate things 2 and 3 dimensions. I love mathematical. I love to look at the big picture and then narrow it down to all the details. I like to manipulate objects. Suppose it also helps individuals to understand how gifted are they even with numbers. Many times when we think a person is good at numbers, we always say, oh, accountant or CPA. But what about a financial planner? What about a project manager? There's so many ways that you can use it because you're gifted at number. What about a sports broadcaster? We have some young people who love to talk about the statistics of NFL players, NBA players. These individuals are naturally gifted, so we have to help them to hone in on that gift and learn how to use it in the right environment. So that's part of it. The other part is I have individuals to create a job description. A job description for them.
Of their ideal job.
Of their ideal job, because when you're looking for a job on the internet or a particular position on the internet, you're going according to what the description that they have written. But what about you? What do you like to do? How long, what type of hours do you like? What type of supervisor would you like to work for? You need to know these things before you go out there seeking an employer to work for. So remember, when you interview, they are interviewing you, but you should be interviewing them as well to make sure that it's a good fit. It's so important that I help individuals to understand that you take these strengths and you know what environment that's going to be conducive to allow you to use the strengths that you know about yourself.
How important is that in long-term career success and ultimate job satisfaction?
It is huge, because if you know who you are, you know what you're gifted at doing, you're articulate in communicating it, and therefore you have written your ideal job description. When you're out there looking for, I call it, people look for jobs, but I like to encourage them to look, what is your next assignment? Assignment is temporary. Many times people think of a job as something permanent. There's really no permanent job. But if you look at it as an assignment, then you go into it with a totally different attitude, a totally different mindset. So when you take those strengths and you're in the right environment, you're going to excel. You're going to be happy at what you're doing. I believe happiness leads to success. Not
Absolutely.
The right job you're in, you're going to be successful at it. Because if you're not happy, you're not going to be as successful as you possibly could be.
Excellent point. We're going to take a break. We'll talk more in just a minute.
Okay.
We'll be back with more Tar Heel Talk after these messages. My guest today is life and career coach Maxine Phillips. Maxine is the president of GAMS Unlimited coaching and consulting firm. Now, before the break, you were talking a little bit about some of the questions we need to ask ourselves when we are looking at our career path, or for some of our young people, majors in colleges and at universities. So another component of that is to develop or create SMART goals. Talk a little bit about what SMART goals are.
Well, SMART goal is a principle that many times organizations use when they're creating goals for their employees. The S stands for specific. How can you be so specific about the type of goal that you're trying to create? For instance, if you're wanting to complete your undergrad degree, well, that's a general SMART goal. However, if you say you want to complete your undergrad degree in psychology, by year of 2020. So that gives you about 3 years. So that's more of a SMART goal. That's more of a contextual goal. The M in the SMART stands for measurable. Can you measure your goal? And is it within reason? Is it real? And the R stands for realistic. You know, so when you're measuring it, are you putting a realistic timeline against that SMART goal that you've just created? A career coach can help you hone in on that time management so that when you create the SMART goal, that you have realistic intervals, you have realistic dates that you're going to complete it, realistic the way that you're going to even go about creating, you know, doing your classes. The A is achievable. How achievable are you going to be with this SMART goal? And then the T is time bound. So again, it's the contextual so that it's more realistic, it's tangible, you have a time frame against it, you know exactly what you're going for, and you know when you have accomplished it.
And you talked a little bit about an example of a SMART goal for maybe a college student, but what about that person who's in a career, maybe 20 plus years into a career, and they're looking to make some changes?
Well, I look at that as transition. You're in a transition because we all go through transitions in life, you know, and that person is probably been in the career for 20 years. Are you happy at what you're doing? Are you doing your best work, living your best life? So many times individuals they feel like they are stuck in a career that they're not happy. They're just moving through time. Time is too precious just to move through it. So what I help individuals to understand is let's repurpose your skills. Let's take a deep dive into what are you actually good at doing. What do you love to do? If you had all the money in the world and did not have to worry about anything, what would you do with your time? That's the question to answer. That's when you know you're passionate about whatever that answer is. That's when you can help discover what your purpose is. So that's why I love helping individuals who are in transition, because it puts a spark into their eyes. Like, this is what I thought about when I was a teenager. Now I get a chance to actually do it. The other thing about being a 20-year veteran in a particular career is that the 8 to 5, I said, look at it as your breadwinner. But what about 5 to 8? You have time there that you can do things that you're passionate about, that you might not have an opportunity to do it when you're on the job. But it doesn't mean that you can't still have it. It doesn't mean that you can't still allow yourself to enjoy it. Many times people volunteer to do the things that they wish that they are not able to do at work, but they volunteer in a capacity. And there's so many young people who need mentors. Pay it forward. Volunteer. Use your skill set to help others.
So from a life and career coach perspective, is it important to do something that you're good at or something that you enjoy?
I would say something that you enjoy. Something that you're passionate about. That's something that no one can ever take away from you, and you have that passion, that burning desire in your heart. And if that's what you're passionate about, you're going to be good at it as well. You know, and the thing about it is you're going to be happy. You're going to be happy, you're going to love, you're going to shine, you're going to have that ray of light that everyone is going to see, that twinkle in your eye. You're going to have those aha moments, and people are going to say, why are you so happy? You said, because I love what I do. And that's what you want people to be able to say.
So for that person, that career veteran who may be in a transition point and they may be doing something that they're good at, but maybe not their passion, how do you help them to bring those two together so that they're more in line and you're doing what you're good at, but also what you're passionate about as well?
Well, I'm going to come back to that assessment that I do. And it says an ability assessment. That assessment is so powerful that it helps them to hone in on what they were born with. The skills, the strengths, the abilities that they had from birth. No one had to teach it to them. That's the missing link. Individuals are out there working, or they might be in a profession that they didn't even go to college for. Their degree has nothing to do with what they're actually doing. Then there are some who are who actually in the profession, they're getting their degree. That's one of the things I love about what I do. When I work with the high school students, they know what electives they should be taking that complement their natural abilities. Then that lends them into what degree plan they go into once they're in college. These individuals accomplish those degrees, whereas individuals who are not sure about their natural abilities, if they come up against some struggle in college, they're more apt to say, I'm not dealing with it. I'm not going to move forward with it. I love being able to follow the students from high school into college and into their first career. Now that excites me because I get a chance to see the fruit of my labor.
Right. How can people find out more information about your consulting and career coach information?
Well, my website is www.gammsunlimited.com. And they can always reach me at 919-349-1726.
Okay, we're going to take another break and talk more in just a minute.
Thank you.
Don't go away. Tar Heel Talk will continue after these messages. Welcome back to Tar Heel Talk. I'm Sonia Williams. Changing careers or earning a promotion takes work and strategic planning, and today's guest has been sharing her wealth of knowledge on how to do both. With us again is Maxine Phillips, life and career coach, author, and motivational speaker. Thank you so much for being with us. You've been sharing some great information on how to find your passion in life and couple it with what you're good at,
yes,
to make a successful career and just a very healthy, happy life.
Yes.
Now you have what you call your 3D approach.
That's true.
To career coaching. Talk a little bit about that 3D approach and what that looks like.
Well, the first part of the 3D is to discover your innate abilities. Again, once you understand what your strengths are and you're able to go in and you're able to talk about them, you're able to design a blueprint. The next part is design, and that's designing a blueprint for your life. This is where we lay out your strategic plan. Where is it you're trying to position yourself in life? What's your legacy? When you're no longer on this earth, what do you want to be known having contributed to the world? That's the design plan that we'd like for you to take a look at. Because then that assessment that we talked about, that helps you to create that blueprint. Then the last part is to discover. Discover not only your strengths, but also, to develop. Develop not only your strengths, but also the opportunities where you can use your strengths.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
I was going to say, I was telling individuals, be like Sherlock Holmes. What does he do? What did he do? He looked for clues. Everywhere he went, he looked for a clue. So every environment, every opportunity, every place, every experience, look for opportunities for you to use your strengths. The opportunity could come just because you're sitting down and talking to someone and they happen to mention a project, a program. Those who are, you talked about 20-year veterans, on their job. Volunteer to be on a committee. That way you get a chance to know other individuals in the company. They can also get a chance to see what your strengths are. Because you could isolate yourself just by being in a particular position or a particular department, but other departments need to know about you. So take an opportunity to allow yourself to be involved with other things within your organization. When it comes to youth, the opportunity for youth would be look for opportunities for you to acquire additional skills. Everything is not going to be a paid position, but volunteer your time. Volunteering is so important when it comes time to us creating your powerful resume.
Right, and it's important for people to know that they can use volunteer opportunities and experiences to help build their resume.
One of the things that we do when you create your own job description, you have to also share what your achievements have been during your lifetime. Individuals totally forget about things that they did 10 or 15 years ago that's applicable to the position that they're applying for right now. And they're like, I had totally forgot about that. I didn't realize that that brought value to the organization. Yes, it does. And I help them to understand how you show and showcase your value.
What are
How do
some
you even share
examples
it?
of how you can maybe take volunteer situations and make them apply to a position?
Like individuals who maybe volunteer for the American Diabetes Association, Heart Association, the Cancer Walks. You might be the chairperson for that, for that year. Well, you had to use project management, you had to use customer service, you had to use communication skills, you probably had to use good time management. So all of those things you're able to bring out because they totally forget about. They think, oh, I just volunteered or I helped raise funds for this particular organization. But you forgot that you had to set up the entire project for that year.
Right.
And that's a lot of undertaking in itself. Many times individuals think that they're in a particular job, but when I help them to dissect that job, and we look at categories, say for instance you are a project manager. Well, that project manager comes with communication skills so that you can show that you have leadership skills. You can show that you have financial, some financial skills because you're able to maintain the budget.
Right.
You
have
do
to be
team
organized.
development. So there's so many different ways you can categorize your skills. The other thing that I help individuals to understand is that when you do your resume, there's different ways to do your resume. You could do a chronological resume or you could do a functional resume. It depends on how many years of service as the type of resume you really need to do in order to present your best, the values that you brought to an organization.
And do you encourage individuals to have multiple resumes in different formats?
Yes, I do, because you do not want a canned resume. Organizations know, you go through the application process and it's going to show up like a red thumb that this is more like a canned resume. So be strategic, customize your resume for the position you're going for. Not only that, customize your resume for the organization you want to work for. I encourage you, if you do nothing else, but you must do your homework, you must do your research, you must understand the organization that you're applying for so that you know what their values are, you know what the competencies are, and you know what the mission and vision is. Don't ever underestimate that, because the first question they ask you could be, so what do you know about our organization?
So you definitely have to do your homework and be prepared for
Yes,
that.
yes.
Now, who would you say needs a life and career coach? What would it be? Do you work more with our young people, college students, people entering the workforce or looking to change careers? Who needs your help most?
All of the above. All of the above. Youth can, use a life coach because, again, they don't have the experience. They're not sure exactly what direction they need to take in life. So these life and career coach can help them to hone in on that. Then you have those who are in college. Those who are in college still are unsure what they want to do with the degree that they're going for or how they're going to use it. They need a life and career coach to help give them some guidance with that or set up a strategic plan with that. Help prepare them to do their resume, to be ready to interview with those corporations as they're graduating. Then you have those who are in transition. Those who are in transition, they maybe need to repurpose their skills. Unemployed, or underemployed. Underemployed means that you're not happy with what you're doing or you feel like you're not being paid your net worth. Well, do you understand what your net worth is? Do you understand the values you brought to an organization that you worked for? You need to be able to showcase that. Unemployed means start thinking about or looking ahead to say, I don't need to wait until I'm out of a job to look for a job. You should always have your resume up to date and you should always be ready.
How can people find out more information and reach you to help them get ready?
919-349-1726 or www.gammsunlimited.com.
Maxine Phillips, life and career coach. It's always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for being with us today. That's it for this week's Tar Heel Talk. To comment on this or other episodes of the show, follow us on Instagram or Facebook or send us an email to tarheeltalk@fox50.com. I'm Sonia Williams. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week.